the midpoint of our time with the Institute. We had this tremendous 2 or 3 year little piece of time when we got to live with Liza Todd. And those were the London years, and then we saw her quite frequently after that too, until she died 3 or 4 years ago in Melbourne, Australia. But Liza was, from childhood, afflicted with some kind of heart weakness, and so she had to be a little careful about herself and couldn't overexert herself. But she was this brilliant elder English lady who had been married until he died to a senior military man in the British military. They had spent time, and we heard stories, we were regaled with stories about their time in the northern part of Pakistan, way up in the mountains. Baluchistan. Amazing stories of hardship, you know, real military hardship, of being in these outposts with her family and trying to raise her kids. Liza was a woman of huge dignity, and somehow, along about the age of 55 or 60 or something, got very intrigued with the work of the Institute of Cultural Affairs. And somebody, I think maybe one of the banks or somebody who was in Australia visiting her daughter, I think when she met up with the Institute, so I think maybe one of the banks invited her to be part of the Institute staff and to move into one of the Institute facilities. And so she did, and then for the rest of her years, until she just couldn't, I mean, there just wasn't the care structure for her, she had to go live with her daughter, but she was part of the Institute staff. And for the 2 precious years we were in London, which were very difficult, having just come from India, and as Taya said, we did not find the British particularly open to colonialists coming in to try to do anything in England. Anyway, here was Liza. Liza was part of our team, and she and I would go on these visits to people to raise money for work somewhere in the world, and Liza would let into her stories about the great work that was going on in Indian villages and in Filipino villages and African villages, and she'd lay it on as though she owned all these colonies. I mean, this was her territory, and it worked. These guys were just mesmerized by this old lady who by then must have been well into her 60s, and we would wander in as she'd go on about these great projects and squeeze money out of these people. She was just ruthless at squeezing money out of these industrialists in England. Her son, in fact, when he rose to the height of his, at the height of his career, her son was the the naval officer who ran the Falklands War for Maggie Thatcher.
Oh my.
And so, I mean, this was a prominent military family. I mean, this was really, Liza was something. And so she'd tell all her childhood stories about never having gone to school. She had to be looked after by a nanny who taught her at home because of her heart problems. She couldn't go to school and be around other children. And all these great stories. And then the stuff about the military experiences in northern Pakistan was amazing. Anyway, Liza Todd was an absolute treat. Absolute treat. You still just live off the great energy that she represented.
Isn't there a book about her or a...
There is,
something?
yeah. John, somebody wrote that book.
Burbage.
Burbage wrote
right.
the book. Yeah, Burbage wrote the book on Liza.
I haven't seen that.
About her life. Yeah, I don't think we have a copy of it.
I need to get
It's a great book. Great book. And you know, she died, and about 3 months later, her daughter died. Just suddenly, one day, just gone, like that. Amazing. Anyway, Liza, no more with us, but very much with us.